I'm good. I'm doing well.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's all right. So you've had quite a busy week, not only in the kind of stages of Christmas, you've also recently got engaged.
Yes, that was amazing.
Congratulations. In probably the most Roxanne Modafferi kind of way, in a cage, a place that you've been familiar with for so long. How was that overall? Did you see anything coming, or was it completely out of the blue?
I thought that he would propose sometime, but I didn't expect it at that moment. I was so busy, it was just me in the corner. So I was just trying to make sure I took care of him and he was okay. And then suddenly I looked and he was down on one knee, and it was very epic.
Yeah, epic considering like we know the circumstances that unfolded over the course of the fight, and nothing like that's happened before as far as my memory would tell me. So pretty unique. What was it like for getting back to Vegas, getting back to Syndicate? Did you get a lot of good support? Everybody kind of talking about it, a lot of buzz?
Yeah, everyone's congratulating me, and it's really cool.
Awesome. Now, did you manage that would be the kind of place, like the platform? We know that most places we look at monuments, landmarks, famous places, but in a cage, you never ever expected that, never ever seen that coming.
I actually kind of hoped and like daydreamed about it, after one of our fights, maybe that might be the case, but I wasn't sure. And then it was kind of a dream come true. I wish, his fight could have gone differently, but that was actually a dream come true for me.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of dreams coming true, actually. Like my UFC career was pretty awesome, is awesome. And I have an awesome man now, man of my dreams. And that was cool.
Yeah, life's exactly as it needs to be now. Did you always plan on getting into the UFC? We know that you fought pretty much. I mean, we can do an A to Z of places that you fought before. UFC, was that always the one place you wanted to fight and the one place that you perhaps wanted to end your career?
Yes, absolutely. When I was a college student and just debuting as a fighter when I was 21 years old, I thought my life goal is to fight in the UFC. And back then there were no women in the UFC. Like there were even women at Strikeforce, so that was my goal. So, the fact that I got to fight for a title came later, but my original goal was just to be in the UFC, and I pretty much fulfilled that goal.
What was the first fight? The first fight for me was Brock Lesnar and Frank Mir. The first one, that's the one that got me. And I was like, I followed Brock Lesnar from wrestling, jumped over to MMA, and I'm like, wow, like, what's he doing? This is a completely different thing. What was the first fight that got you into the MMA, UFC specifically?
Yeah, it was Matt Serra and I think Shoni Carter.
Carter.
Didn't Matt get knocked out by the spinning back fist? But I was really rooting for Matt because he's a jiu-jitsu guy, and I love to see jiu-jitsu and MMA. And then also Robbie Lawler and Aaron Riley. That was my other favorite fight.
So jiu-jitsu's always been there. It's always been there from the start, but we're managing to see it probably in more artful type ways. As a lot of people, you're a lot more well-rounded now. So yeah, overall, I think that's probably the best thing. Jiu-jitsu is completely taken over the game now as well. Are you planning on doing jiu-jitsu after you retire? Are you going to keep competing, or is that it?
100%. I cannot wait to get back to jiu-jitsu. And I've done some jiu-jitsu matches, like professional matches recently, but I don't regret doing them, but I didn't feel like I was able to put 100% into them, and I know like jiu-jitsu only people are training like twice a day really hard, and like I'm not there. So I definitely need to focus on some things, but it's cool that I have goals after I finish doing MMA.
Yeah, and is there a lot of pressure then for you? So we know that competing in MMA, jiu-jitsu, completely different dimensions. You've got to perhaps risk injury in one, and that's going to, of course, take you away for the other. So are you planning on going full pelt? Have you got a lot of events lined up, ticked off to get going?
I feel like I need to grow into my black belt again. Like time has passed, and even like 2 years has passed since I got my black belt. But I can't really even berimbolo, and it's embarrassing to me, and I need to do better leg locks. So I have some goals. Like I definitely need to catch up before, I do tournaments. I might do like super fights, that would be cool.
Yeah, but the fact that that's still an ambition, that's still something you've got kind of set ahead. Very exciting, but we will get to that. At the moment, you've announced that you're going to be making your final walk to the octagon in February. You're going to be fighting against Casey O'Neill. When and how did this kind of come about? Because we know that you're at the later stage of your career, but you've always seemed to keep going and going and going, as we've seen. What's brought it to this time now that you've decided that's it?
This will be 50 fights. This is my 50th fight. That's
Yeah.
cool. A cool number.
Insane.
Also, I feel like just not recovering quickly after training. Like I don't bounce back like I used to. And, I've gotten like headaches after hard training sessions. So like, I don't want to, I promised myself like the second I started worrying about brain trauma, like I would quit. So now I'm just wearing my headgear all the time. And that helps so much, but still, I don't want to be worried about that. So I just decided like I gotta find something else.
Yeah, it seems very reasonable given the circumstances. Now you're going to be fighting against Casey O'Neill. Everybody's beginning to know who Casey is. She's making quite the impact in her UFC career thus far. What do you think about her? I mean, we know, of course, it's this little kind of syndicate, Extreme Couture. We've heard a little bit back and forth. We won't go into that because that's not what we're here to talk about. But what do you think about her overall? She seemed pretty dominant thus far. Are you a fan? Have you been appreciative of the type of work that she brings to the cage?
Yeah, man, everyone in the UFC is really tough. She's really tough. I never shrink from a challenge, bring on anybody. I love that. I seem to be the person who is given, the tough up and comer fighters, and that's fine. Gets me publicity, and I'll try to take her zero very hard. I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to do some different styles of training to prepare for this match, and I'm going to try to throw everything I've got at her because it's my last one.
You get the impression that you relish these opportunities. Like we know the underdog tag gets thrown about a lot. We know it's been put towards yourself. Do you kind of relish that? There's no pressure then in that sense?
Yeah.
So you're both very similar, and certainly in size, reach, a lot of different things. You've been able to show as well as your grappling. You do have striking. We've seen your striking. Casey O'Neill, she's known for her submissions. She's known for a lot of her kind of stand-up as well. You got a good kind of plan, take her to the ground? Is that, we've kind of got to kind of map out what you're going to do? You just need to find that way to get her down there, yeah?
You guys will have to find out when you see the fight. But I promise you, it will be a glorious battle.
Without a doubt. Now,
unless something crazy happens, but I'm going to try to make crazy stuff happen.
Well, we've seen what you've done before, certainly with people that are up and coming, and Macy Barber, to name a few, so it's a prime example of what you kind of bring, the dangers that you bring, even if people might not perceive them that way. It's all documented. We've seen the illustrious career so far, so we know what you bring. Now, you ever heard of the tag, the Prospect Killer? Anybody called you that yet? Because I've seen that going about in the MMA scene, the underground scene.
Could you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So in the underground MMA scene, do you know the community, the forums, Roxanne Modafferi, you're getting called the Prospect Killer for a lot of your killing of Shevchenko, Macy Barber.
I love that.
You know what I'm saying? It's
excellent.
You agree with that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, they give me whoever and I'll try to smash them.
And
they
you
have
do
to
for
pass.
that. Yep, they need to pass. Now, do you see yourself as that the gatekeeper? Like, I said it myself, as soon as Casey O'Neill won her last fight, I was thinking, right, she's going to need to get Modafferi now. Shouted it on social media, shouted it to the masses. We need to see if she can fight someone like yourself. As we've seen, we know what you bring. Fair to say?
You know what? When I was still like trying to fight for the title, I was annoyed at that term. But now, like, sure, I agree with that. Like, I'm not going to fight for the title again. And I think it was like my Cowboy Cerrone or somebody said that being the gatekeeper means you get a lot of fights. So cool. That's fine.
Yeah, without a doubt. Are you going to be somewhat disappointed? At the end of the day, you've fought a lot of fights. You managed to take down one of the Shevchenkos. Were you ever hoping to maybe get to the main one, the one at the top of the hill?
I kind of hoped that someday, but now it's whatever. I still have a lot of cool competitions in my future that don't involve MMA, and she can enjoy her reign.
Yeah, you never know. She likes to grapple herself. You might bump into her at some point at a grappling
tournament.
You never know.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah,
bring some of that motivation back. You never know. It does happen.
That's a good idea, man. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries at all. Now, have you got any books in the pipeline? I must admit, I've not read your books so far. I'm ordering some of them just now. You got any more coming up at this part of your career?
I'm actually approaching the end of one. It's my second autobiography. So like my first one ended at the beginning of, at the end of my college career, and that career, my time period. And then I'm starting once I move to Japan, and it talks about like how my career started. And then I guess I'll do it when it finishes. So it'll pretty much encompass my entire year, my entire career. Sorry.
No, without a doubt. So anybody ever been inspired? Like, we know you're about to know about the kind of fan base that you've got. You've got a lot of people very complimentary across social media and probably most of all in person. Anybody ever spoke about the books and went, that book, I've read that book, that's inspired me, that's helped me progress at some stage, MMA or not, kind of moving forward, inspiration?
I have a book, How to Be Positive. And it's like a psychological book with tips. And a lot of people have said that has helped them. So I'm happy about that.
It's got amazing reviews.
Yes.
And I'll be reading them.
Awesome. Thank you.
Up on them. No worries at all. Right. So as we're saying about your fight, you're going to go into another big fight. You've got a lot going on. What's your most favorite fight and why?
My favorite fight is against Nico Montano for the title. We just threw down for 5 rounds and it was crazy. And after the fight ended, I got like a fever and I got sick just because my body like gave everything it had. And I just thought that was a cool fight. It was a really exciting fight.
And does that teach you a lot about yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I trained for a 3-round fight. And, you know, I showed that I could dig down deep and do a hard 5-round fight with what I got. So that was cool. But, you know, I couldn't win and that sucked. I was so close. So that sucked too, but yeah, it's okay.
Do you think then, like, given the nature of jumping into that fight, do you think that if you never kind of hard fought through that fight, do you think that you would have continued doing it up until this point? Or did that perhaps bring something out in you that you had forgotten about in terms of toughness and resilience and maybe inspired you more to keep going this bit longer to now?
I didn't actually catch the first part of the question. Could you repeat that?
Yeah. So that fight was a very hard fought fight. As you said, you had only prepared for 3 rounds. The fact that you were able to go 2 over that and learn a lot about yourself, do you think that, given the fact that you had fought so much up until that point, do you think that fight taught you more about yourself so that helped you progress to where you are now, like keep you motivated and keep you going?
Not necessarily. I think it just showed that I have good cardio because sometimes I'm like, I have to do more cardio. And my coach is like, you don't, you're fine. So that kind of supports his theory, but I'm always self-motivated.
Yeah. So you're a big fan of the sport. I mean, we see you interacting and engaging with a lot of people as well. Now, the flyweight division as a whole, do you watch a lot? Do you see anybody now that you're maybe looking at and you're going, they're going to be the future? We know Valentina's position, but do you see anybody kind of climbing that ladder that as a fan you can look at for the outside and go, yeah, they're looking very promising. They look like they can go places.
Yeah, actually, I thought that about Mixie Barber, Casey O'Neill, Miranda Maverick for sure. Like those gals.
What do you think about again, as a fan, they're putting a lot of these prospects together. Do you think that that's kind of shooting themselves in the foot rather than building them up individually? Do you not think they should maybe get them together perhaps when they've been elevated a wee bit more together? Because I think they're putting too many young girls together. It's coming a bit stagnant.
Well, that's a good point. That's not my job. You know, like, you have a point, but I don't know. They got to fight for it, man. Just fight for it.
Yeah, that's just me speculating. Fight. That's
they
the
can't
main
give
thing.
them all to veterans like me.
Exactly. Now, see, at the end of the day, when you've kind of all said and done, what do you want to most be remembered by your fellow fighters?
I would like to be. Oh, I had the perfect answer in this other interview, and I forgot what I said. I remember now. I would like to be remembered as a martial artist. You know, a martial artist first, you know, and fighter second. You know, I love training and, you know, just the betterment of oneself and honor, that sort of thing.
And that seems to be the kind of attitude that's kept you going all the way through. I mean, one thing I've said about you is that you've always been true to yourself.
Yes.
In a very egotistical, if I can say so, in the way that there's a lot of ego and a lot of social media and a lot of attention that perhaps distracts fighters in that sense.
Yep,
If I
I
may.
completely agree. You said it
You've
way
been-
better.
You,
Yeah.
you've been able to keep it level-headed. People kind of love and respect you for who you are and what you do and what you bring to the game in a way that perhaps ties in the conventional way that we perhaps miss, and it's perhaps gone after all that time.
I agree. Yeah.
What's the first thing you're going to do when you finish your fight, win or lose? What's the first thing you're going to do? Have you kind of mapped out what it's going to be? Because everybody's got this whole, I'm going to drop the gloves, I'm going to make this big speech, I'm going to do this. Have you thought about that yet?
I'm gonna drop the gloves. Depending on what happened and what they ask me, I don't know. I don't really have a good presence of mind after fights. Kiss my boyfriend, my fiance, and it's my.
Yeah, you should drop some Dragon Ball Z merchandise, or your blue hair. You should drop that in the octagon as well. That's like the ultimate Roxanne Modafferi outro.
I could drop a Dragon Ball. I have
Yeah.
Dragon Ball, not the hair. Well, I'll think
Yeah, you
about
should
it.
do
That's
that.
not a bad idea.
I'll be keeping an eye out for that. But I just wanted to get a quick bit of an idea behind you, what you're thinking going into the fight. Ultimately, see what you're doing after. I'm glad to hear that you're going to be continuing stuff moving forward. You're not going to be sitting just watching fights. You're going to be competing, hopefully getting Shevchenko, Valentina. That would be great.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Yeah, but it's a pleasure and a privilege to talk to you. You're a pioneer. You're a trailblazer of the sport. We're going to miss you very much, but we're just going to be thankful that we got you through your whole illustrious career, and we got an opportunity to see you fight at the top tier of the MMA world.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Appreciate your time.
Of
You
course.
take care, and we'll see you on February.
Thank you very much. Take care.